What was once one turned into three, reconnecting with our family, a safe space to speak authentically. We raise our cups, unifying as three. We bring freedom in community, random thoughts and golden nugget treats. Welcome, Three of Cups community. Let's go ahead and raise the frequency.
Within this is the person victimizing themselves and complaining is completely unaware that they're complaining about the fact that the person is not molding themselves to the way they want them to show up as in the connection for them. Therefore, there's a subliminal, underhanded approach being created psychologically, subconsciously, that they believe that person should be living for them if they're sharing a connection with them, even though the person is learning to live for themselves and teach themselves how to live for themselves, which is the whole point of personal growth in the first place. If you're in a connection, a friendship, an intimate connection, or a familiar connection, you are still meant to learn to live for yourself while you're sharing a connection with another person in general. It doesn't matter what connection you have. You are still meant to practice learning how to live for yourself while you share that sacred space of you with someone else, regardless who they are and what importance they hold in your life. If you live from a space of living for someone else while you're trying to grow for yourself, you're going to meet contradiction after contradiction after contradiction every single time, and personal internal conflict at every single corner and angle, because you're not going to understand why you feel drawn to go this way, but you are also being told to look this way. Hear that correctly. You're drawn to go this way for yourself and be and act in this way, but you're told to go, be, and act this way. This way is living for someone else. This way is living for yourself. Connections you welcome into your life will want you to lean this way, no matter what that entails. Because connections that want you to lean this way and encourage it, that allow you to spread your wings instead of trying to clip them, regardless how it triggers them, regardless what personal reservations they have, they're just going to allow you to be yourself, even if it triggers or annoys them, or if it's something that they disagree with. The whole point of this reality is to share an experience, not attempt to mold somebody because you share a connection with them and you have your own personal reservations. Your personal reservations are for you, not for the person that is already holding themselves accountable as they're doing their own personal growth. You taking advantage of that sacred space is you practicing targeting practice with someone that gave you that access to that vulnerable area of themselves, where they trust you to be honest, open, and upfront, but they also trust you to respect their position of choice without you judging them for their decision after they've made it. They give you the space to speak and say your position, but you should then allow them to choose on their own what they decide after you've shared your opinion of position, after you shared your position of emotion, after you shared your position of reservation, whatever it is you've shared. You are then meant to allow that person to choose for themselves what they want to do without taking it personal. And if you see yourself taking it personal after you've shared a position with them about what you believe in, or what you believe they're doing, or what you believe you're seeing they're doing, or what you believe they're making you feel like, and you take that personally, then you're the problem. And if you go around doing a smearing campaign about someone that had you internalize something that actually has nothing to do with them anymore, and their intention wasn't even to make you internalize anything in the first place, they just decided to choose themselves, you're the problem. Not them. They're just choosing themselves now, and they're practicing it. And it's clear they've outgrown the connection with you, especially if you're choosing not to learn from what is triggering you and making you internalize things. And you're choosing to just stay in an energy of wanting to victimize yourself in it and find ways to complain about something you don't have control over, because you're doing your best to run away from looking at yourself by pointing out what somebody else is choosing for themselves that's upsetting you as a person, because you're still used to putting everyone before yourself just to make them feel comfortable. Let's continue.
Oh, so you're a covert hater, I see.
I mean, I love you, but you just changed so much. I feel like I can't be myself around you.
Using emotion to cover deception. Red flag.
Like, sometimes I feel like you're acting better than me, or just acting like you're better than everybody else.
Definitely not a supporter, but an insecure hater.
Yeah. So, this area of the video, in this area where this person is beginning to use emotions to pull at the heartstrings of a person to get them to abandon themselves for someone else that they know cares for them, that's a red flag. If you know you're someone, or you know of someone you're in a connection with that uses emotion to try to pull you away from yourself, when they clearly know you're just being yourself and you're learning to choose yourself, and they're trying to use the verbiage of emotion to get your attention because they know you're an empathetic person and a compassionate person, you're in the presence of a manipulator. You're in the presence of someone who has not yet learned to be accountable for their own emotions. You're in the presence of someone that uses their emotions to weaponize against people that know and practice how to be accountable for themselves, and that chooses and shows up for themselves. You're in the presence of a person that uses their feelings to weaponize your compassion and empathy for them against you. Keep that in mind. That's a manipulator. That's not a friend, and that's not a healthy connection. And if they're approaching you this way, they're not only most likely not only not practicing self-awareness, but they're most likely very aware that they're blaming you for their feelings, and they don't see anything wrong with it, which is why they're also doing a smearing campaign behind your back as well with other people, which is very interesting, because it's a contradiction. It's a contradiction where they want to smear your name and complain, but they want to stay connected to you because they know you're actually someone that does care about them. So they'd rather weaponize the emotions of compassion and empathy you have towards them so that they can begin to psychologically reinforce the idea of planting seeds of doubt within you, that you need to abandon yourself to make them feel comfortable, or dim your confidence to make them feel comfortable because of the lack of work they're putting in on themselves. If you continue to show up in these kinds of connections personally yourself, you have no one to blame but yourself, because you're working on yourself. You're working on choosing yourself, but that comes with consequences. That comes with boundaries, that comes with values, that comes with putting them into practice and not victimizing yourself for the way that somebody is showing up towards you in a connection anymore, but to take action on it and grieve it instead of getting into a state where you are stuck in the mindset of wondering why someone that close to you, or someone you cared about that much, or someone that you have always been there for, is showing up towards you in this kind of manner, when it's completely and obviously unwarranted, very unwarranted, and yet they still chose to do it. Let's continue.
I've just, been keeping it in, but I just want to be open and tell you now because, I see you just glowing and everything, and I'm happy for you because I love you and everything, but I'm also just, wanting to be genuine and express my feelings about how you're making me feel because you're so different.
Now she's trying to burden me with her insecurities?
Okay, but girl, I love the transformation. I love the brand new look.
So, burdening insecurities, burdening emotions onto the person they're psychologically targeting. That is another approach and habit that gets created when somebody is reacting insecurely to someone's personal growth that they're sharing a connection with, especially if they know they aren't working on themselves. A person not working on themselves has their own self-imposed limiting beliefs they put onto themselves.